Back talking Cougar volleyball with the head coach Melinda Washington. The Cougars undefeated in conference play at 7-0, and overall they're 13-2, number 4 in the country with the national rankings, and really to move up, you got to hope that somebody up top loses at this point. But that top 10 in the country has been a very interesting battle all the way through, up and down. You keep watching the rankings and see who's beating who, and with some of those California conferences, as we've talked over the years here. So many good teams out there. It's kind of fun to watch how that national ranking plays out, but you probably don't worry about that too much. In the back of your mind, you don't want the girls to think about it too much. As you head on the road for the big tournament at Embry-Riddle, taking on 2 very good teams. I was the number 2 team in the country, the host. Yeah, right now at this point in the season, if you had to pick 2 or 3 of your MVPs and why, who would you put on that pedestal?
Wow, it's a mixture depending on the evening and what our game plan is. We're using different attackers and things like that. I would have to say Vesna Trivinovic on the outside has been a force for us. She's been working very hard with consistency and with her athleticism to get herself in shape and put balls down and make sure she knows what to expect now after the trip to nationals last year. It's brutal, that many matches in a short amount of time. So she's really working on her physicality and her level of conditioning to make sure that she's ready for that. She continues to put balls down for us on the outside, and being able to terminate in the L1 spot is very important, and she's done that so far. I think Paula Fajeda, obviously she was the National Player of the Year last year and is continuing to put up great statistics, and she was the National Player of the Week, I believe, the first week of the season, and just fantastic at what she does. If we can put the ball in her hand as far as passers, she makes the right set almost every time. She's an offensive setter. She can put the ball down if we need kills, and she puts our hitters in great situations. And she's a great leader. She has great work ethic as far as her conditioning and her, making sure that she's prepared both mentally and physically every day.
I think there was a few examples. Sorry to interrupt you. I think there was a few examples in the most recent home match in Moab, talking about the energy of what that match was. Even though you ended up winning 3-0, and the second match was closer than you probably would have liked, it had to feel like it was the 5th set every single point almost, and the energy that you saw out of your girls on the celebrations was just a little extra something, and you could see that chemistry kind of really coming together during that match as it played out. And
that's something we've really talked about as a team. We've played some teams that the scores haven't been that close. We've been dominant, and it's real easy to lose that level of intensity, and being able to keep that level of intensity throughout a match. And that's one of the disadvantages that we typically have going into the postseason, is the inability to keep that mental focus all the way through an entire match. Every time the ball's put into play, you're mentally engaged, and we have a tendency to lose that when we play better teams. And I thought we did a really nice job, minus maybe 4 points in that second set, of really staying engaged. When the ball was put in play, we were engaged as a team, and nobody took a play off. We didn't have any really bad errors. We did have a few errors, but not bad errors. And we did a nice job. I really thought, getting back to my top 3, I think Trinity Ojo I would have to add in there. She's really been working hard. The middles have been flip-flopping in their roles there, but she's really, the last couple of weeks, come around and working really hard, and has really become one of our go-to hitters.
And then as the girls are getting ready for a little practice here on the other side of the wall behind us, talk us a little bit what practice is like right now for you guys. As you, again, it's an ebb and flow for the whole season, as you mentioned that. Getting ready for the national tournament down the road and conference tournament play, how does practice change before a long road trip, or just in general?
Oh, I try to keep my practices the first 45 minutes to an hour fundamentals, basic fundamental drills. They may be 1, 2, or 3 skill drills, but they're still fundamental drills. You have to have the fundamentals in volleyball. You have to be able to serve and pass aggressively in this new rally score game. It's not new anymore, but the rally score game, you have to be able to serve and pass. We've got a great setter. We've got great position players, the libero and the setter. But you have to keep your ball control. So we have a lot of ball control drills the first half of practice. Then we move more into the team drills, where we're putting them into situations, and there's consequences if you don't reach your goal. So we lack a little bit of that engagement, the competition level during the matches. So we try to keep that level high in practices, making sure that the girls have goals in the drills, so that they're not playing through drills, they're competing through drills. And that's one way that I try to keep the girls engaged in every point, you know, when we lack that in matches. So the very last part of practice, sometimes we'll scrimmage, and I put them, you know, at a 10-point deficit, and they're always playing from behind so that they still have that intensity as a team. And
that's, again, you know, I come back to you mentioned the word fundamentals, and whether it's John Klein on the soccer field or Wendy Spratt's volleyball or softball team, I mean, it's no matter what level it is, you know, ultimately, yeah, can you catch and throw? Can you know, bump and set? Can you do all the little things? Because if you can't do that, all the strategy in the world on who's rotating where doesn't mean anything, because you're losing at that point. Right. We'll come back, talk the final bit of schedule with conference play, and wrap up this episode of Cougar Coaches Show, talking volleyball with head coach Washington right here on MediaCom Channel 22.